Who do you think the most important people in combat sports are? It might not be who you think it is. Well, if you guess it's the people holding the pads for striking athletes, then you guessed right. Today, I interviewed Coach Manny Ramirez, a Muay Thai striking coach who's growing athletes in the poetic, destructive, and powerful art of eight limbs. We talked about his entrepreneurial journey and discussed what it means to be growing top tier professional and amateur athletes across his home state of Florida. I'm excited about this one. Let's get it. Welcome back to Fight Capital, where we step into the ring of combat sports business. I'm your host, Ryan Rappaport. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Coach Manny Ramirez. He is a distinguished Muay Thai coach with over a decade of dedication to the art of eight limbs and is currently training students at Fusion Xcel Training Center in Orlando, Florida. His journey in combat sports is marked by an extensive training background under Eduardo Ferrino Silva and also at the revered Sitmonchai Gym in Thailand. Manny's commitment to the sport extends beyond coaching, as he's played a pivotal role in guiding numerous fighters through the ranks of amateur and professional levels, showcasing his deep understanding of both the technical and business aspect of combat sports. Thanks for being here today, Coach. How are you and where are you joining from?
Doing good, man. From here in Orlando, Florida. Enjoying the nice weather today. Actually, no rain, and it's not too scorching hot.
Yeah, I caught 34-degree weather today, so I'm missing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet that sounds unbearable to me.
Well, man, I'd love to learn a little bit more about your journey. I know you've been involved in Muay Thai for over a decade and you've trained under a really esteemed coach, Ferrino Silva. What initially drew you to Muay Thai and how did your kind of early experience shape your approach as a coach today?
I honestly I always loved Muay Thai just from even playing like Street Fighter, and Sagat was like my favorite character. I have a huge tattoo of him on my ribs. And I always thought as a kid, like watching Kickboxer, seeing Sagat, like I want to learn to fight like that. But I kind of went into it like I just joined like an MMA gym and just fell in love with the striking more than anything. I always wanted to box since I was a kid, and but Muay Thai was really like my thing because of the elbows, the kicks, like you used everything, and even the sweeps and the clinching to me was just like a complete art, I'm standing. And I always loved MMA though. I watched UFC 1 as a kid and fell in love with MMA. So, but Muay Thai was just my passion. Like even when I trained at an MMA gym, it was like I would do jiu-jitsu. I did gi, I did no gi. I've done MMA classes. I've even done MMA smokers. But I just couldn't. I didn't have like the drive and the passion to do jiu-jitsu every single day. And I felt like I wanted to do some sort of striking every day, like kick pads or hit the bag or spar. And so I guess I was just more drawn to Muay Thai for sure.
That's good. And I think Sagat actually inspired a lot of people. And actually, I didn't even know, I found out recently he was a real person.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until like,
yeah.
Oh, really? No way.
Yeah.
I saw watched a bunch of his old fights, man. He was intense.
Beast. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, what brought you to being instructor at Fusion Xcel? I've trained there a couple times. I have a few friends that train there, and it's obviously like a world-class gym. You got, so many amazing people from amateurs to top-tier professionals training there. But what brought you over there?
Honestly, I knew of the team from the scene locally in Florida and just seeing them on the big stage too. And I knew a few fighters from there that periodically would be in Miami and they'd come by my gym in Miami and do some pads with me. And so Mikey Conlon, a bunch of the guys, Tyler, he's way more of just a guy who has this ridiculous switch kick and good striking too. And then Kat, I actually cornered against Kat years ago, and I always admired her as a fighter. She was, ridiculously talented, and she was in Miami. She came and did pads, and so I just happened to come up to Orlando one weekend and pass by the gym and was, hanging out, holding pads for Mikey and Kat and everybody, and then I met Julian like officially, like and formally, and we got to talk and then it was just kind of like that relationship with some of the fighters. Like, hey, man, if you're in town, let me know, And I was like, oh, look, next weekend. So I ended up popping back up, kept doing pads. And then Julian and me were speaking about starting a Muay Thai program there. And initially it started that I was just going to try to build like a program up here and still go back and forth from Miami and up here. And then one thing led to another. As many people know, me and Kat started dating also, and that's a whole other story. But me and Julian kept talking about the program and building a program, and he really wanted Muay Thai at Fusion. And the more I kept working with the fighters, I was started jumping in when he needed an instructor, and I was in town. I'd jump in and take over a class, and it was just a good like connection too, because to me that's important to have a good bond and a good connection with the fighters, and it just makes the work that much better. And one thing led to another. I ended up just moving up here and running the program and being more involved with the fight team and officially becoming a coach at Fusion. And there's still a possibility of me opening my own Muay Thai gym in Orlando, and I have been thinking about it a lot, but it would be just Muay Thai, and I would definitely continue working at Fusion. I really enjoyed working there a lot. Yeah.
It's such a great atmosphere over there. Julian's great, man. He's always been nothing
Absolutely.
but amazing, and huge fan of Kat. Just a way to see she bounced back as well. And what a nicer person, but the last person I'd ever want ground and pounding. Yeah, like she's. It's been really cool watching her evolve, training with you as well, which has been awesome. I'm just curious because as a coach and an entrepreneur in the combat sports space, I always like to just talk about the challenges that people meet as well, because it's everyone thinks it's rainbows and sunshines, but it's really a hard industry to be an
Oh, yeah.
entrepreneur in. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just curious, what are some of the challenges that you face in establishing and growing your program?
I mean, obviously, challenges is just, especially for somebody like me that's Muay Thai based. Like my gym was Muay Thai, it was Bushido Muay Thai, and that's not as now. It's a little more like commonly known, but it's not like jujitsu where like kind of everybody knows about jujitsu nowadays. It's a little easier to open. Like I feel like a jujitsu gym, Muay Thai. Like people even feel like, man, I don't want to get punched in the face, and you don't have to learn. I had tons and tons of students that never wanted to fight, but just loved the art and loved the workout aspect of it. But for me, one of the challenges was just getting someone that doesn't really know much about martial arts that wants to start martial arts to do something like Muay Thai instead of boxing or jiu-jitsu or even MMA. I mean, obviously MMA now is like the mainstream thing in a sense. Like everybody knows MMA or you.
Yeah, that's what people call it, right? Yeah.
Everybody trains UFC, man.
I train
But
UFC, yeah.
but yeah, so I feel like that was one of the challenges. And then I honestly, it's not easy at all. It's not. Owning and running a gym is one of the toughest things. I feel like it will run you ragged if you let it. But I never thought it was really that hard as long as you have a good product. If you have something that's good, it'll kind of sell itself. And word of mouth to me is the biggest thing. Probably sticking with it, man, because a lot of people give up. It was hard as hell in the beginning. I didn't make any kind of money at all. I was barely paying the rent and the bills, but I stuck with it, and plenty of mornings where there was nobody on the mats, and I ended up doing some bag work by myself. Before you know it, I had 30, 40 people in the morning. Sticking with it would probably be the hardest part.
Yeah, well, I think I'm a believer. Obviously, I've been training Muay Thai for about 7 years, but I'm a huge believer that it's going to make a big statement in terms of striking arts in like the next couple years. I mean, if you look at people like Jared Cannonier and everything that he's using it for. But just like people have people were like wrestling, and then BJJ was like the dominant, and then like the wrestlers were taking over, and then the karate guys were popping up, and now it's always I kind of feel like that's the next flavor and like the skill set people have to bring into the mix.
I agree. I agree. And even just because there's been people that have been using it, I just feel like it's underutilized in a sense. Like how every fighter needs to have wrestling now, every fighter needs to have jujitsu. I feel like it's one of those where you're gonna need to have some sort of like Muay Thai base. For me, elbows. I feel like elbows are gonna start being used more and more. And trust me, you'll see from the fighters at Fusion, we're working a lot of elbows. But I feel like elbows are underutilized and sweeps, like even just dumps from the clinch. Like Matt Brown was one of the best. He would dump everybody, and people just never picked up on it. Like, I mean, his coach Dorian is a beast and one of my favorites. I've had the pleasure of training with him too, and and he's a beast at teaching that as well. And I feel like coaches like that know how to apply it for MMA, because it can't be traditional Muay Thai in an MMA fight. It's not going to work. And I feel like that once coaches start bridging that gap, that's when you're really going to start to see it like coming to life in MMA and in the cage for sure.
I feel like I'm nerding out with you on a little bit, but I'm there with you 100%. And the other thing too that I see Muay Thai really kind of bringing to the table too is checking kicks. I mean, in like the world where the low calf kick and the leg kicks have like become like the way that people. If you look at what Sean Strickland did against Izzy Adesanya, I mean, he was checking the kicks, and that's like what like totally threw Izzy off, and that'll end your career if you catch it the wrong way. But you mentioned Matt Brown, and I just think about all the work he did in Thailand. And I know that you had the opportunity to train at Sitmonchai Gym, which
Yeah.
is a legendary gym and is really known for that like aggressive style, right? And high knockout rates. I'm just curious, like, how's that influenced your training philosophy and the way that you promote your program?
And huge, huge, huge. I love Sitmonchai Gym. Everybody over there. Crew Dom was like one of the first coaches that I was like, man, I'm gonna hold pads like him. Like, and I would study the way he would hold. And he worked with Kevin Ross. I know I've had the pleasure of meeting Kevin too, or a legend of the sport for Muay Thai in America. And just one of the coolest dudes I've ever met and trained with, and seeing him go to Sipmanchai and Dom, and just obviously Pornsene and all the fighters that come out of there. And I love boxing. I mean, like that was kind of like one of the first things I wanted to do as a kid. I just thought, boxing, because I watched boxing, and I'm Cuban, I guess. It's in my blood, and so they're at boxing, heavy gym, and leg kicks. So it's like, to me, that's like my favorite. I love boxing, elbows, and leg kicks. So it was like a no-brainer. I'm going to Sitmonchai, and I've been there now like 4 times. I've fought for them. My gym in Miami used to have like their logo in the ring. I have tattooed on my shoulder. I mean, yeah, I love that place. Abigail, PA, the owner, everybody. It's an amazing gym. I would highly recommend anybody to go there and train. It's kind of away from everything, so if you're there to train, and there's not much to do with the night market twice a week, and I love the night market, but you're not partying. You're there to train. You're training, and it's an amazing gym.
You're not hanging out at the beach.
Yeah, exactly. You're not getting drunk in the middle of the day and then, trying to stumble back to train again. Some people do, but but yeah, but I love that place, man. And I'm actually, I haven't been there now. I was there right when COVID kind of went nuts. I flew out. I was there for almost a month before, and then I was supposed to fight on Max Muay Thai, and I think like 2 nights before my fight, it was the last stadium to get shut down. And then it was like trying to get back home, and so I haven't been there since then. It's been way too long, and I'm planning on going back soon, sometime this year for sure, for sure.
We were talking beforehand, and just you talking about that now just kind of reminds me of just the community all around the sport. I mean, like I have friends like Carnage, Corbett,
Yeah,
Nathan, and like the cool things that he does. Coach Sean, who was my first coach in the sport, and like really kind of helped me fall in love with the sport. I'm just curious because with this community around Muay Thai and like kind of the broader combat sports community, I think it's so crucial just for the growth and the recognition. How do you engage with people within the community, and like how do you see kind of like the partnerships and collaborations, because you talked about Dom Fairtex in there as well?
yeah, yeah. I will say, man, for the most part, and I personally have never had an issue with anybody in the Muay Thai community. I've gotten along great with everybody, and I feel like people are very open to kind of like working together and bouncing knowledge off each other, especially in Muay Thai. It's honestly, I feel like it's because of how old it is. Like, it has so much tradition and culture that it's not like so, like, I don't know. And I guess the whole energy of Muay Thai, it's more laid back, and we kill each other in the ring, and we could be friends before and after. Um, but one thing I will say is the coaching clinics at CSA. I don't know if you ever heard of the coaching clinics that Coach Kirian does over there, but he does coaching clinics, and he brings in, coaches and athletes from all over literally all over the world, because he's had Damian Alamos, Liam Harrison. I mean, and it's a weekend event, and it's basically for coaches. So it's almost like a weekend seminar for coaches, and you get to network. I mean, you also get to like drill and learn techniques. I met Carnage there. I met Nathan there. I trained with him twice there. Damian Alamos, Liam Harrison, and networking just with other coaches in the country. I met Eddie Abasolo there. Eddie's like come to my gym now and done seminars, hung out. Like, he's amazing dude, and to me, the best Muay Thai fighter in the country right now, probably. I mean, he's just so different. That's what I love about Eddie's style, and I've been to his gym, so I feel like that community is so open and receiving of each other. And for the most part, like I've never had a bad issue where anybody is saying anything negative. People just kind of like love the sport and want to grow it. And I think they see the potential and they see like just how dumb it is to like not work together or not just growing the sport and the art of it. But yeah, I do think it's important, and I love that aspect of the sport for sure.
No, I'm right there with you. And it's funny, even like, so Carnage comes, I'm in the DC area right now, and he comes out here like every other month. And he actually put me in with a gym that he comes and does coaching at. And he does commentating at a local Muay Thai promotion as well. And like, I found a great gym here because of him. And they've been like phenomenal for me. Crew Scott Howard, and just like Disciple MMA, and here they've been like phenomenal to me. And I'm just like so blessed to like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
community, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I got buddies over there too. Yeah, that's awesome. That's
So I'm
awesome.
just kind of curious, looking towards the future. What do you kind of see as like the way the sport's evolving, and how do you stay ahead of the trends and the changes that are happening out there in this shifting landscape of combat sports?
I mean, honestly, I think the sport is doing amazing and growing amazing. Not just Muay Thai specifically, but MMA. Like I feel like one championship is doing amazing things. Um, with kickboxing, Muay Thai with MMA gloves. Which I think should be the biggest thing on the planet. I don't understand how, like, especially here in the States, how you watch a UFC fight sometimes and it hits the ground for too long and people are booing, but they won't watch a Muay Thai fight with MMA gloves. It's baffling to me. But I feel like if it's done and presented correctly, it would be the one of the top sports, if not the top sport. And I think it's just that alone is even that alone even is making Muay Thai more utilized than MMA. I feel because I feel like the MMA fighters are watching the Muay Thai guys with the little gloves and they're like, oh shit, I can use that, I can do this, and I feel like that's how I kind of like keep evolving with the sport. I watch everything, man. I'll watch boxing, and I kind of feel like everything can be applied to anything else as long as it's applied correctly. So, like, I feel like clinching is very much like jujitsu, just kind of standing up, And obviously, there's different things you're trying to accomplish, but the keys and the basics are pretty similar. And I feel like that helps me a lot with even with wrestling and applying the elbows into the boxing combinations into takedowns. And so I feel like it all kind of goes together. It's art, It's just how do you paint your picture to me. And I feel like that's how you can keep evolving the sport and keep, coming up with crazy techniques and utilize things like for sure. I do.
100% there with you too. And I think it's like an education factor. I mean, as long as one's been around, they haven't gotten like super featured here in the US. I mean, like us hardcore people get it and know it. But
Mhm.
I think it's about time for kind of like a mainstream Muay Thai program. I know like Lion Fights isn't around anymore, but it's
Yeah.
like I feel like it's ripe. Like I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, maybe it is one. They got that distribution with Prime and
Yep.
everything like that. But I think I just have this feeling there's going to be like a breakout Muay Thai promotion at some point in like the next 5 years. It's not there yet. I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
I wish I could point my finger and say, oh, that's them today. Maybe,
Sure.
like I said, maybe it's going to be one, but it's
Sure.
definitely coming soon. I feel like.
Yep. I feel like one almost doesn't. They obviously want to get into the U.S. market, but I feel like it's not the most important thing to them because they have like Europe and so many other countries. But I do feel like if they made the push, they could make it happen. If they did some shows here, like locally, and then maybe that's what they're working on by building Luke, with Eddie, like a lot of like U.S. names. And they're obviously that's easy. Those are two monsters. They're phenomenal fighters. But um, I do think it should and it could take off. I know Rami's doing amazing things with Freedom, and man, he's doing fights in Thailand even now, and all over the planet really, because I think he went to the Middle East already, and he does a really nice Muay Thai show. I don't know if he's going to be doing Muay Thai with MMA gloves, but I do think that's the key to get the U.S. audience. They need to see Muay Thai with MMA gloves, and I think they'll eat it up.
I'm right there with you, man. Yeah, I don't know Freedom actually. I have to look into them.
All right, yeah, Rami Ibrahimovic. He does Freedom. They've done, I believe, over 10 shows now, and they do pro and ami fights, and really high level. That's the thing. Rami knows the talent, and he's been around. He's worked with the USMF, so and he brings fighters in from other countries. I mean, he's doing really good things. You look into it. They do a lot of shows in New York, actually, and DC area, I believe they've done New York with them. Yeah, man, they're all around, man. Rami's doing good things for Muay Thai for sure.
I'll definitely have to look them up, man. That's why I love doing these conversations. It's and like just as much as it is like trying to hype people up like yourself. I'm learning. Like I do this for love of the game and like trying to
It's
pull
awesome.
back the curtain for everyone else too, because a lot of the casual fans, they don't see the business side. Like they hear the fighters, they hear the Dana Whites,
Yeah.
the Chatris. They're listening to those people, but the reality is it's so much more than that. So that's why I love doing this, Coach. I appreciate you
Yeah, man, I
taking the
appreciate
time.
you.
It just out of curiosity for anyone who's listening to this, what's the best way to get in contact with you, find you on the socials?
My Instagram page, it's Manny Bushido Miami. Man, I don't even know. Hold on a second.
Well, I'll
I
make
don't
sure to
remember my
tag you and
Instagram.
throw it
Yeah,
all in
tag
there
me
too.
on there.
Yeah.
But my Instagram page really is the best way to get in contact with me. If not, you can hit up Fusion Xcel's page too. They always forward me messages. Sometimes people contact them about pad work with me. And I'm available for pad work with anybody. They don't have to be members of Fusion. I got tons of fighters that I work with that are not, on the team, and Julian's really cool about it. So, but yeah, man, yeah. I appreciate you, man, because sometimes, like you said, people don't think about those coaches in the locker room too, and we appreciate getting some love too.
Yeah, man. The pad holders, in my opinion, the pad holders are the ones that drive it, and you guys are taking the most damage.
100%. I've been more. I for sure have had. I feel way more beat up from holding pads than ever from training and fighting, man. That is 100% the truth. 100%, man. It takes a toll on you, but I love it.
Well, Coach, thanks again for doing this. Looking forward to getting this out, and thanks for once again.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you.